This is essentially where we stand as far as Sunday is concerned. It comes down to two teams. You want drama on Sunday afternoon, and hopefully we'll get a little. It's going to come down to how the Panthers handle Atlanta, and it's going to come down to how the Jaguars play against Tennessee. All right, I can't expect Cincinnati to walk into Baltimore. They're not going to win that game. And Baltimore then is going to make the playoffs. And then it really comes down to how Jacksonville handles it against Tennessee. The Buffalo-Miami game is a toss-up. I give a little edge to Miami. I think they play hard, but the Jaguars are better than the Titans, who have not played well, who struggle, who, were not terrible against the Rams, but, certainly not good enough to win the game. And how the Jaguars handle it here is going to be fascinating with Coughlin. And then, of course, Carolina. Let's do Jacksonville first. Let's never forget the fact that Coughlin was the head coach of the Giants the year in 2008 when they last game of the year on NFL Network with Goodell praying that he would play the game hard, asking him before the game, are you going to go out there and try to win it? And he said yes. That was a Saturday night game. The Patriots were 15-0, and the Giants had clinched the playoff spot. They did not have a chance to win the division, and the game was essentially a warm-up game, and Coughlin treated that game as a big-time game to win. He let Eli play the whole game, and the Giants obviously ended up losing because New England that year went 16-0, but the game was 34-31, I think, and Eli played really well in the game, and one could argue that spirit of the Giants got him going as far as the postseason is concerned. Now, Jacksonville right now can't move. They're the 3 seed no matter what you do. They can't go up, they can't go down. They won the tiebreaker from Kansas City, so if they win and they lose and the Chiefs win, doesn't make any difference. They're still the 3 seed, and obviously with Pittsburgh's win yesterday on Christmas in Houston against a disastrous Texan team, they can't go up and challenge to get a week off. So Jacksonville is in a scenario where, they can't, this is it. I mean, they're going to play the following week no matter what they do. Furthermore, they actually could play Tennessee, very well likelihood, in the next week too. This could be a rematch scenario. Because if Tennessee beats Jacksonville, they make the playoffs. And if Baltimore beats Cincinnati, they make the playoffs. And Baltimore would be the 5 seed. And Tennessee would turn around and be the 6 seed. So from that perspective, this is a very, very strange. This is an odd situation. Tennessee gets the spot over Buffalo because they have they have a better conference record because they've lost 3 games to the NFC West, and Buffalo's only lost 2 games in the NFC South. San Diego has lost only 1 game to an NFC team. You reverse it, and that means that Tennessee's got the best conference record. So that's why Tennessee wins those tiebreakers. So in other words, does Jacksonville go into Tennessee and Nashville on Sunday afternoon? Do they go in there with, they had a loss last week where Bortles threw 3 picks. They were a little flat early in the game. They got run over late. Do they go into that game, the Jaguars, looking to make sure they keep their momentum, regain it for the postseason, or do they go and play everybody, and as long as they're healthy, play everybody like it's a regular season game, or does Jacksonville go into the game and say to themselves, we're going to play this team the next week as it is. Why go out there and go crazy and let Bortles play second half and, let our defensive linemen play the second half? Why do we go out there and do that? Now, Tennessee did beat Jacksonville first game of the year, so maybe they want to, a little comeuppance, and maybe if they lose to Jacksonville again, or lose to Tennessee again, that means Tennessee then would play them the next week, having already beaten them twice, and maybe the Jaguars don't want to give him that leg up. Who knows? But that's number one. Coughlin's history is he plays the season out. I don't know how they're going to handle that. That is ad number one. Now, obviously, if they play that game to win, they can win a game. And then that opens up the door for Buffalo. That opens up the door for the Chargers. So we keep that in mind here with the game there at 425 in Nashville. That is very significant. How the Jaguars play that game, that's day one. Day two is Carolina. How do they play now? Carolina, listen, they can look at the scoreboard and hope that Tampa, is pretty darn competitive at home. Tampa the last 2 weeks has been very competitive. I mean, they did a good job against Atlanta. They could have won. And obviously, obviously, the game that they played on Sunday in Carolina, if the kid doesn't miss a field goal, they have no field goal kicking. They never have. It's a joke. They drafted the kid out of Florida State. It was a complete bust. They used a very high pick on him, either a first or a second rounder. He didn't do anything, and they lose a lot of games because of lousy kicking. Well, they missed a 40-something yarder late there on Sunday, and if they would have made the kick, they could have beaten Carolina. As it turns out, they missed it. Carolina goes down the field, scores a touchdown, down 19-15. Maybe the whole psyche of the game changes. Who knows? Bottom line is that I'm not sure what Tampa has left, and what does Carolina do when they start the field? Carolina's got a big differential here. They can end up the 2 seed because if they win, Minnesota loses, and Saints lose, they win the division, and they won a head-to-head with Minnesota, so at 12-4, they get a bye. Now, Minnesota's not going to lose, so you almost probably can eliminate that, but they could be, anywhere from the 3, 4 to the 5, and I don't know how they're going to play it because you got to figure that the Saints will win at Tampa. So does Carolina go in there and try to bust their butt for 60 minutes against the Falcons when they most likely will play the next week without a bye? How will that work? Now, that obviously affects Seattle because if Atlanta wins, they're in the playoffs, and if Atlanta loses, Seattle, then if they beat Arizona, they make the playoffs. So it is a very unique situation here with those two franchises, and they're the key to the whole day. 2 road teams, both in the playoffs. One is locked in as a 3 seed. One most likely is locked into playing on Wild Card Weekend in Carolina. So how do they handle it going into a road spot against 2 teams that are desperate to make the playoffs? That is the key to your whole weekend. We'll see how that works itself out. Peter, a little later on, your calls momentarily. Good to have you aboard on this busy day here on Mad Dog Unleashed.